Hello, welcome to Angela's Busy Bees Garden and Homestead. Guys, today I'm out in the garden taking a look around because I am going to have to cover a lot of my vegetables that I've planted a little early because I was anxious and just trying to get a head start on the growing season. But as far as the brassicas, they will be fine. But what I am concerned about are the tomatoes, peppers, and okra plants that I've planted. Also, I'm going to use some leaves that I had bagged that I'm just going to use that to cover the potatoes, and hopefully they'll be okay. But everything else, the carrots should be fine. As I've stated, all of my brassicas, kale, collards, they should be fine. But guys, we had a real heavy rain on Friday night, so everything really got a good watering. But as I am looking at my brassicas, some of them are not as green as they should be. So I think now, even though when I planted them, I used a slow release fertilizer, but now I think it's time for me to use a water soluble fertilizer such as a fish emulsion. And what I'm going to do to take care of the yellowing is add about 2 tablespoons of Epsom salt, just pure Epsom salt, not the scented kind. And I'm going to add that to a 5-gallon bucket of water with my fish emulsion. And I think now they're ready for their first liquid feeding. As you see here on my tomatoes, what I'm going to have to do is take out all of these stakes that I've put in this bed, and I'm going to use like a taller pot to center the middle, turn it upside down, and then that way it'll be tall enough where it won't lean on my tomato plants or bend them over. And I have some clear plastic in my greenhouse, so that's not going to be a problem. I'm wondering though if I need to cover my zucchinis and squash plants. I guess I'm just going to err on the side of caution and just maybe place them in between these pots and cover them all together under one sheet of plastic. Guys, look at this poke salad that keeps coming back in my garden year after year, and I keep having to cut it down. But the tomatoes were starting to do really well, and even on one of them over here, I see where I was even getting a little flower. So all of this is going to have to be covered. I'm not concerned about the brassicas here. This is my cabbage, and they are starting to uh, ball up there in the center. So I'm really pleased about that. One thing that always concerns me when it's hot and then cold and then hot again is the fact that a lot of your brassicas, especially your collards, they seed in the second year. And when the weather just changes from hot to cold, it can make the vegetables think that they should be going to seed, that they are in year 2. So I'm hoping that won't be the case with them. 35 degrees is not so bad for your brassicas because many of them can go down to like about 26 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's expected to be about 36 degrees tonight. And then after tonight, it goes back up to 41 at night, 45, and then into the 50s. But this is my bed of collards and kale, and everything was just growing so beautifully, guys. And now we have to expect low temperatures. So I'm hoping everything will be okay. I came out here to start covering up stuff, but because the sun is so nice and beautiful, I'm going to wait until later this evening to cover everything up. What I'm going to do with these peppers, I have a lot of empty pots that when I purchase flowers or what have you, I try to keep the container because you never know if you're going to need it to plant something else. So I'm just going to turn the pots upside down over these peppers, and hopefully they'll be okay. And also, in the middle of thinking about how I'm going to protect my vegetables, I started pulling weeds. And so as you can see here, I started cleaning out or pulling some of the weeds in between my comfrey plants. And guys, once I fertilize with this fish emulsion and a little Epsom salt going forward, I'm going to try to fertilize with my comfrey and make comfrey tea. But as you can see here, the peppers had started taking off. The carrots are doing really well. I sowed lots of seeds in all of these 5-gallon buckets with sugar snap peas. And as you can see, not all of them came up. That's why I really should have put more than I did. And I thought I was really putting a lot of seeds, but nonetheless, they did germinate, at least some of them. And as I've stated, with these potatoes, I'm going to just cover them up with some leaves that I've kept on hand. And also, guys, while I was out here, I started cleaning out bed number 1. I had lavender, sage, and rosemary in here. And guys, if you don't take any other tip from me, please take this one. If you are planting lavender or rosemary in a raised bed, they are going to become like a huge bush and will basically take over the entire bed. So going forward, I will not be planting those items in my raised bed. I think I'm going to put them in large pots and let them grow that way. So now that I have cleaned out this bed, and of course the lavender was dying and so was the rosemary, so it was very easy to dig it out. But also in this bed I had some coneflowers, and as you can see, the coneflowers are coming back. And then also, because on the other side of this fence my blackberries were growing, and so some of them rooted into this raised bed. Now normally I would have dug it out, but because my canes that was supposed to produce fruit this year, when we had that cold snap, they were budding really beautifully and flowering. But then when we got the cold snap, they just all just died. So I'm not going to get my bountiful harvest of blackberries that I'm accustomed to because of that. But I do see there down on the ground, some new shoots are coming up. So the plant is not dead. So I'm really thankful for that. And with the new shoots, they're going to bear fruit next year. So because these are the only ones that I have that are flowering and getting ready to put on fruit, I just decided to stake it up in this raised bed and just plant around it. That way I can at least get some blackberries this year. But in this bed, I am going to be planting some eggplant and some bell peppers in this bed. And as you can see, here's some of the weeds that I've been pulling up from around the comfrey. Another very important tip, guys, is if you are growing comfrey for fertilizer for your fruits and vegetables, please place it in the ground, because if you place it in a pot, it cannot get the nutrients and the minerals that you need to supply your fruits and vegetables. And so I just reserved this area over here for my comfrey so that those tap roots, which are very long, can go as deep as they need to pull up all of those trace minerals that I'm going to need to fertilize my fruits and vegetables. Okay, guys, that's all I have for you today. I hope that you all are safe and well. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing and hit the notification bell so that you can receive additional videos from me. And as always, I'll see you in the next video, God's willing, and God bless. Bye-bye.